back. You're still watching World Insight with me, Tian Wei, coming to you Monday to Friday on CGTN. The coastal city of Qingdao will host the 18th SCO Summit from June the 9th to the 10th. China welcomes back summit leaders 6 years after it was held in Beijing in the year 2012. It's no coincidence. SCO member states have recorded growth in trade. Multilateral economic plans are being discussed to synergize each country's growth roadmaps. As India and Pakistan step in, how will member states work with each other within the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? Take a look at this first.
How can SCO countries synergize development strategies and promote connectivity? That's what the SCO Business Forum sought to answer.
I suggest member countries, SCO Business Council, chambers and associations to push forward the connection of Belt and Road Initiative with development policies like the Eurasian Economic Union and the Bright Road, and to make full use of each country's advantages and resources, industrial structure, technologies, talents and finance to achieve associated development.
The SCO countries are building land, sea, aviation, telecom connections among each other, and Chinese companies are involved in many of such projects. Trade between China and other SCO member countries hit $217 billion last year, compared with $12 billion in 2001. Another country which saw a significant increase in trade volume is Uzbekistan.
By 2017, Uzbekistan had $20 million worth of trade volume with other member countries, a large increase compared to before. That trade is of great importance, and among that, small and medium-sized companies played an important role.
The forum gathered 300 trade officials, business leaders, and entrepreneurs, and they all had their own takeaways. Building platforms, connectivity, and facilitation. Those are the main goals of the Business Forum. Speakers and participants are also expecting policies announced at the Qingdao Summit to help better achieve their business ambitions.
The SCO was initially created for security, but now it focuses more and more on economic and trade cooperation. On the sidelines of the SCO Business Forum in Beijing, I sat down with some panelists coming from different countries of SCO member states to talk about the synergy and the future of SCO. And I'm so glad to be joined here by three panelists. They're coming from different countries among the SCO member states. In the middle, shall we go to? First of all, we have Shiv Khemka, who is the head of the Indian business delegation to the SCO. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Also here, we have Colin Yang, who's the chief branding officer of Trina Solar. That, of course, is a new technology firm regarding China's energy development. Good to see you. And last but certainly not least, we have Mr. Zhang Xin, Senior Vice President of China National Oil and Gas Exploration and Development Company. Welcome, sir. So first of all, I really want to ask the three of you, how big really is your presence in the SCO countries regarding your global operation? Mr. Yang, you want to go first?
Yes, I think Trina Solar will attach great importance to the business cooperation with the member countries of SCO. And starting from India, that is one of our major market in the emerging area. Trina Solar has started to explore the market a few years ago, and we have done a very good job, actually. We have a local team is around 20 people.
Okay.
And it's almost 99% is localization. So the majority of the office is local, the Indian people. They know the local market better than the people from our headquarters.
So you are saying you are having certain kinds of competition with Mr. Khemka because his company is also dealing with new energy, huh?
Actually, I'm very happy to learn that your company is called the sun. The sun is also connected with the solar. So I think the competition is okay, but as long as the whole world is paying more attention to renewable, to solar, the future world will be better.
That sounds diplomatic, I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Kanka, what do you think about partners, competitions coming from different SCO member countries?
But actually, I completely agree with what was just said here.
Come on, really?
Completely agree, because, you know, the demand for energy in a country like India, where we consume 1/5 per capita the energy consumed by people in China, as an example, we need to go to renewable energy. And India has one of the largest pushes towards solar energy, renewable energy in the world. And so I think the more the better, frankly, because it reduces costs, it increases access. And so we're great believers, actually, in more effort on renewable energy,
right,
more connectivity between our countries. China has led the way in renewable energy, doing some great things. And so India is very excited to work. And in fact, not only India, Russia, the whole SCO region, I think integration in terms of cooperation in these things will only help each of us.
Yeah, you have two hats. One is heading the business delegation to the SCO. The other is as the vice chairman of the Sun Group, one of the biggest family businesses in India. But Mr. Kanka, what do you make of your global presence vis-a-vis your cooperation with the SCO countries?
So we as a group have been working in Russia, as an example, since 1958. This is our 60th year working with Russia.
Congratulations.
We're the largest.
I hope China's cooperation will be as long as that and even longer.
Yes, we hope so. So we have just started working closely with China now. We have a partnership with China Gold,
yes,
to work in Russia, in a gold mine in Russia together. We are working with some Chinese companies in India. We're working with many Russian companies in India. And so we're working much more in the region. We've worked in Kazakhstan. We've done some things in Uzbekistan. So I think the whole region will benefit greatly by more integration, more connectivity, and more cooperation between
So there's already a lot of synergy there among the businesses. That's what we're talking about already.
It's starting.
It is starting. What about Mr. Zhang? Is it starting for you and your company?
You see that we entered the SCO countries since 1997. So far we are working in 80 countries and have 25 projects. So far we work in Kazakhstan, Russia, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Pakistan. You see the business here is most for the petroleum exploration and exploitation. Also include chemical refinery, pipeline. So we talk about upstream, middle stream, and downstream.
Wow.
It's integrated cooperation in those countries.
If you list all those businesses and also ways of doing business, it seems that there are billions of investment you put over there.
For sure. You see that since this high investment in this country, we have the win-win situation. Not only we work in the international, not only get the benefit, also we look for the fully support for the local economic. So far, we already extended some contracts. We believe we are in this area will be efficiency.
You know, you operate in those SCO countries 20 years already. Before, there's a group called FCO even. But the question is, you see certain kinds of political changes in these countries. You see also different stages of development over the past 20 years. So how do you as a business be able to not only survive but also thrive among all of these changes? I guess that's something I should ask you about, because it seems that you are the only one that is operating in most of the SCO countries.
Yeah, we believe through our experience, we believe environmental change, political change, economic change, also we need a change.
Oh, okay.
Suitable for the investment environment.
Give me an example. How do you go with the flow?
We built the trust
Yes.
with the local people. Through so many years, we not only working for petroleum, we also have the support for education, and for the training program and communication, so many
capacity building for the local people.
Yeah, so through all of the society contribution, we understand each other, then environment change, we change, so we survive all the time.
All right. That, of course, for a company like yours, which has been there for 20 years. But what about for a company like yours, Mr. Yang? I mean, your presence in different countries are not that long yet.
Solar is a younger history, so we were not that elder than like our colleagues. So from the SCO member countries, I think India is one of our major market. We are taking a longer view to see whether we have the possibility to explore the market in the other member countries. But starting from India, I think the Indian government really set up a very ambitious goal of solar development. They have a 100 gigawatt solar installation plan by the year of 2022.
I see.
So this will give a very good opportunity for Chinese solar industry and also other countries' solar industry company to go to the Indian market and to develop.
Mr. Khemka, we have to admit, I mean, China and India, over the past few years, it has not been all the time smooth. There has been ups and downs. Until recently, the two presidents have this wonderful informal talk in Wuhan, and it seems there are visionary plans that the two have already have in mind for the two countries. But Mr. Khemka, you know, given all these possibility of ups and downs in bilateral relations, whether it's China, India, or other countries among the SCO members, how do you see the strategies company like yours should have in terms of cooperation?
So we firmly believe that economic engagement strengthens political ties.
You do that. You do
We believe deeply that we must work together.
Mm.
Only by working together we understand each other, we build friendships, we build relationships, and builds a much stronger bond
Yes.
of political relationships. So although politically maybe there's some bumps in the road,
Right.
India today, the biggest trading partner is China. So for us, for India, we think China is very important, and not just China, the whole SCO grouping, we think is a very important way to actually create jobs, to create trade, to create investment, to create cultural integration. You know, as you know, SCO may be a new construct, but the relationships between our countries go back thousands of years.
Sure.
Central Asia and India, you know, the great kings Babur came to India, set up the Mughal Empire. Our cultures are intertwined, our languages are intertwined.
Religion as well.
Religions, so things are very, very closely intertwined. And this is just a format that is now bringing us together in an organized way to actually create more integration, prosperity, sustainability, and peace for the region. And I'm a great believer that the more we do together as business people, the more we can actually do.
I've always wondered, Mr. Khemka, if our ancestors had the vision and the wisdom to be able to work together, even under much more difficult circumstances, transportation and things like that, they could be able to interact so actively in their times. Why couldn't we have the wisdom to do the same, or probably even better?
But I think we do actually. I think the noise at the surface should be slightly discounted. I think deeply we are working closely together. More and more work is happening. We are working not only together in India and in China, or together in Russia, or together globally. I think there's much more interaction. But to me, I think the key is going to be people-to-people exchange.
Right.
More education, more connectivity. And the more we do that, I think the more we will build much stronger linkages.
Different initiatives, for example, Eurasian Economic Union or the Belt and Road Initiative, those are the initiatives coming from two member states of the SCO, China and Russia. Any opportunities that these leaders and this interaction between these two initiatives have already created for you? What still needs to be done?
I think we both are very appreciative to the initiative of BRI and also the initiative by
Eurasian Economic Union.
That's right, by the Russian leader. So I certainly believe the more initiative we have like this will bring the more opportunity for the businessmen from one member country to another member country. So more understanding will make more opportunities.
Mr. Kemka, you see different countries brought out different visions. China BRI and Russia EU. I'm sure other countries like India, you also have your vision of cooperating with regional partners. So how will these mechanisms correlate and interact with one another, particularly for the help to the business community?
So I think that actually each of these initiatives is looking at the same issue with a slightly different lens. So one lens is a Chinese lens, one is a slightly Russian lens, one might be a slightly Indian lens.
Yes.
And yes, there'll be some differences. There'll be some things which are more in the interest of one country than the other country. But at the end of the day, I completely agree with what my colleagues are saying, is that the more of these initiatives you have, it creates an enabling architecture for business as a whole to take advantage of whatever they want to do in that environment. So maybe Chinese companies will benefit more from BRI particularly, maybe the Russian companies will benefit more, but at the end of the day, it will create more architecture to connect our countries together in terms of trade, in terms of investment, in terms of people exchange, infrastructure, energy, and so on. So all of that will create a much stronger bond for prosperity, sustainability, and peace.
The debate going on in the world about the international trade system, about the concept of globalization, about unilateral vis-a-vis multilateral. How do you, from your business perspective, see these issues?
So I think global trade rules, multilateral rules, have helped create one of the biggest economic booms in history, have brought billions of people out of poverty. And so personally, and this is speaking as an individual, I'm a great believer in globalization. I'm a believer that we must integrate more, we must find advantages and find ways to actually connect economies together. Yes, that will create pain in different economies, but if we work in a cooperative way with multilateral institutions that are strong, that actually can put in place frameworks that allow this to work in a fair and just manner, I believe we will do much better in the long run than if we only look out for our own individual interest as a country. Maybe in the short run we will do better, but as a world we will not do as well.
Yeah, I fully with Shiv on this point. I think the cooperation and mutual understanding between China and India is a good example for other countries to follow. Why? A few years ago, the Indian solar equipment manufacturers, they initiated a kind of a petition for trade barrier and tariff imposing on Chinese solar manufacturers. So started carefully and comprehensively. I believe the Indian government has made a very strategic decision. They have seen that the trade barrier between India and China will be a double-edged sword to both countries. So finally, they give up this kind of trade barrier. So that is a good condition and solidation to ensure that the cooperation between China and India in solar market developed smoothly and successfully.
The SCO summit is really coming up. So I guess from the business community, you do have some wishes for the governments and the heads of state to work on. I'm sure you have a wish list. What should they do in terms of supporting business?
Yeah, I think the leaders of the member countries of SCO, they can keep the political and the security issue on their mind, but also make sure that to make the renewable development as one of the important sectors when they are making the decision.
Only renewable development? Is that what you're thinking? What about Mr. Zhang?
So
you're coming from the oil sector.
Yeah, we use this opportunity. Will be signed the new agreement with the resources countries, I believe everybody will respect the new agreement.
All right. We hope there will be a lot of real stuff in the new agreement. And Mr. Khemka, last but not least.
So I agree with both the gentlemen. I think the important thing is to create enabling infrastructure for us to work together more closely. That's what the government leaders should do. So, for example, maybe there should be a new SCO financial architecture, like a BRICS bank, a new development bank, or AIIB, maybe an SCO-focused banking structure, banking infrastructure, which allows us to work, legal infrastructure, etc., which allows us to work more closely together and do things in each other's countries and as partners.
All right. I hope those leaders could hear our voices and they would work on all of these important areas for all of us for the future. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us. Mr. Yang, Mr. Khemka, and Mr. Zhang. Really appreciate it. All the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A panel discussion on the trade and economic ties among countries of SCO members. And that is all the time we have for today. If you'd like to see more, try to find us World Insight CGTN into your search engine or check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Sina Weibo. From me, Tian Wei, and everyone on the World Insight team, thanks for watching. Tune in again next time for insights across China and around the world. Good night.